Factors that affect the value of a used semi-truck, the specs on the truck is a really major one. And when I say specs, I'm referring to how you have the truck set up, the engine that because when you buy let's say you're buying a Freightliner Cascadia from the Freightliner factory, you've got 2 different engine choices you can put in there. You've got about 5 different transmission choices you can put in there. On your engines, you've got several different horsepower ranges you can run it at. You've got different axle weight ratings you can do. I mean, there are all kinds of different ways to spec out a truck. And let's say that you're going to buy an international, LT is their main sleeper. You buy an international LT sleeper. If you spec that truck out and it's got the international engine in there, when it comes time to resell that truck, if you've got the exact same truck side by side and one's spec'd out with a Cummins engine and one is spec'd out with that international engine, you can typically expect to get $20,000 to $25,000 less per truck for that international engine. So the way you spec out a truck is really important. The more common of a spec you use, the better resale value you're going to get. When you sell that truck, you don't want a real unique spec on there that only 4 or 5 other fleets in the whole country run, because if they're not in the market for that truck's either going to sit or you're going to have to discount it substantially to get it moved. You want the most common spec possible because that leaves you the biggest target market to sell that truck back into. So specs are really important. How you get that truck set up from the factory, and condition is really important too. It's not quite as important as in a car where you want to wax out and buff it to where it looks perfect. All of that does help though. I mean, these are still, in the end of the day, these are products that somebody's spending money to buy. But much more important is the mechanical condition of the truck. Has the truck been well maintained? Do you keep all the maintenance records for it? Are all the fluids topped up? Are there any types of leaks on it? I mean, you can usually tell a fleet that takes really good care of their stuff by the way the truck looks. If the truck has cracked mirrors and if it's got the inside of it is filthy and they never wash it and the fluids haven't been topped up and the needs tires in the rear, you can almost be sure that they're not doing a lot of preventive maintenance, that they're fixing things as they break, that they're not doing a lot of the stuff that you need to do beforehand to make sure that the truck will run for a long time and is a good truck. So usually just by looking at a group of trucks, you can tell about how well those trucks have been maintained by that fleet. So the more your truck looks like it's been well taken care of, obviously the better resale value it's going to have. That's what's unique about trucking is so much of the spec is based on the application of the truck. So the whole reason that they allow, these manufacturers allow these different specs, is there's so many different applications that you can use these trucks for. If you buy a group of Freightliners and you're going to turn them into dump trucks, okay, that's going to have to be spec'd completely differently than if you buy a group of Freightliner sleepers that you're going to haul FedEx with, run paper up and down the highway. One is going to have a gear ratio in the 8 to 9 range, and the other one's going to have a gear ratio in the 2 to 3 range. One's going to have heavy axles and probably like an 8LL, an 8-speed manual transmission that's geared to go up really steep embankments at very low speeds. The other one's going to be geared to get the best possible mileage they can running up and down the highway at 65 miles an hour. So the spec really is driven by the application that they're using the truck for. To answer your question, it's all based on the application. Depending on what you're going to do with that truck, there are some specs besides the engine and transmission that can be vitally important.